Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
I was muted. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the View 52 Challenge. I'm your host and definitely prepared for this, Jack Pinchuk. With me once again, as always, it's Alex. Alex, how you doing tonight?
Good, yeah.
Wonderful. Also joining us once again for our classic movie watch through, it's Melissa Woody. Melissa, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm in my basement, so we will see. I'm hoping I stay continuous with the stream. We will see.
Sounds awesome. Let's hope everything goes well tonight. I think I speak for all of us here when I say we overall had some pretty good movies to watch this week, at least for the most part. For those of you that have been following along, the challenges for this month were a Best Original and Adapted Screenplay winner double feature. So 2 movies for that week. A film featuring Marilyn Monroe, a film by Alfred Hitchcock, and a French film. And I think we can just get right into it. You two had the same pick for screenplay winners, so I think we'll start with you two. Talk. One of you can start us off. Talk about one of them, I guess.
Yeah. Do you have a preference at all?
No.
I mean, I already talked about In the Heat of the Night for Picture This, so I guess you should probably take that one.
Okay, sure. So, In the Heat of the Night, it was released in 1967. It was directed by Norman Jewison, and it stars the incredible Sidney Poitier, which she's in both of our picks for this week. And kind of general plot synopsis is his character is a police detective, but he is in the racist part of, well, I mean, it was just very racist back then anyways, but he was in Mississippi, and he gets mistaken and accused of being a murderer, basically, from a murder that recently happened. But then, funny enough, he's a homicide detective, so he ends up they end up actually asking him to like help solve the crime. And yeah, that's kind of like the basic synopsis. For me personally, I think it's a great performance in a pretty boring film. I kind of struggled with the pacing of the movie. I thought it was a little awkward at times and kind of slow, which is kind of weird because I feel like anytime like murder's involved, it's like typically pretty exciting. But I do find this movie fairly boring. But Sidney Poitier's performance is incredible. And it's a historical film because it's the first time ever on film that a black man slaps a white man. So pretty groundbreaking stuff here.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, you also picked this, so you can go talk about it.
Well, I'll be honest. I picked In the Heat of the Night because I mostly wanted to watch Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I'd already seen In the Heat of the Night. I didn't realize that when I was going to pick. I forgot that In the Heat of the Night won Best Picture, so I'd have to see it. But yeah, In the Heat of the Night is a movie that I watched, and I gave it a positive review, but I mainly just like one performance. I think the rest of it is pretty dry, pretty bland. Movie needs some salt. There's like 2 good scenes in it. I don't really even necessarily think Poitier is that good. He has like one scene that I liked, and it's the scene where he slaps that one white guy. That's neat. But otherwise, it's like a really awkward movie. It's like watching someone that's 6'10" run. It's like all it's just incorrect. And I mean, it's probably more interesting to look at from a historical point of view than it is from like just a watching it kind of point of view. And it's only like, I guess that's it. It's only okay.
Agreed.
I like this movie quite a bit, like on my first viewing, and then my biggest issue, like I too felt like the pacing wasn't that great on my first watch, and then things started kind of coming together for me on my second watch when I saw it for Picture This earlier in the year. I still think Poitier is incredible. Rod Steiger owes that man an Oscar. Him or Spencer Tracy. It's kind of insulting that Steiger's the one that won that out of the 2 white dudes that Sidney Poitier taught racism to back in 1967. But we'll get to the other one eventually. I think it's a very well done film. Does it have its issues? Of course, just like a lot of movies from the 60s do. However, I think it's a very well done movie. Very, it's grounded by some really strong performances, like I said, from Poitier specifically. And that scene where he slaps the dude in the greenhouse is just so great. I had a really good time with it last time I saw it, so I can see myself rewatching it. Anyway, who wants to take Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Me. I said I was gonna. Yeah, okay. So
Okay.
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Stanley Kramer directed movie about having to tell your parents that you're in a interracial relationship, and both sets of parents being like, you're doing what? It's a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. This I think is the more standout. It's
Absolutely, Kelly.
This I think is kind of the standout movie for this of the set. I think it's anchored by I think 4 or 5 really strong performances from Poitier, from Spencer Tracy, from Katharine Hepburn. I don't remember who plays his parents. Hang on. Roy Glenn and Isabel Stanford. No, not Isabel Stanford. Somebody. Both sets of parents. They're all putting in really good work. And it's. I'll just say it, as someone that does. I'm not really into Hispanic girls like a whole lot. I've lived through the plot of this movie like several different times. It's always weird. It's always awkward. There's always like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, sure. And I really liked Spencer Tracy in this movie. His whole role of it, not just as a parent, which is a whole thing, but he's a political figure who's been fighting for this specific thing to happen, but he didn't realize it was going to happen to him, which just adds a whole dimension to that character. And I thought that was really interesting. There are a lot of really fun speeches. And overall, just like a really, really solid movie. Just like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of these movies are a little bit of the product of the time. But I do think this one still holds up a bit more. And I just enjoyed my time more with this movie. And I guess when I say that, it almost kind of reminded me of the Children's Hour from last month in a way. Like it kind of feels like the product of the time, but it still like hits emotionally. And I do think it's funny, like from a today perspective. I almost feel like the age gap is probably more the concern for people.
Yeah.
But regardless, no, I thought the performances throughout were really good. It's definitely more just a lot of conversations. That's kind of the movie. It's not a lot of like set pieces or anything, or anything else. It's a lot of like different conversations with different people. The final monologue by Spencer Tracy was incredible. I do love the unnecessary delivery boy scene. It's very like random. It has like this like 1960s funky music. That part's probably could have been edited out, but I do kind of appreciate it. It was kind of fun. And then there was one other thing I was gonna say. Oh, Katharine Hepburn's eyes. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I was so distracted throughout this entire movie. Her eyes are like watering, and like it just seemed like literally something was wrong with her eyes. So I hope she's okay.
There's a lot of menthol on set. You know, you get like menthol around, and you're like, I gotta hang on.
Yeah. Also, if anyone is watching, I see we've got at least one person watching right now. If you watch something for the challenge, let us know in the live chat. We'll put it on screen. Yeah, I love this movie so much. It was one of my favorite first-time watches of, was it last year? I think it was, yeah. It was on Logged It as Movie of the Month. And that scene where Katharine Hepburn fires the woman that's working for her is just so damn satisfying. I love it. This Matt Drayton, Spencer Tracy's speech is perfect. That scene is just absolutely incredible. Love it so much. It's one that I didn't get to rewatch for the challenge, and I didn't get to rewatch it when we did In the Heat of the Night on Picture This, but it's one I want to see and still remember really, really loving. Kelly watched The Lavender Hill Mob, and she's saving Guess Who's Coming to Dinner for Katharine Hepburn Week, which is coming up very soon. So can't wait to hear what you think of that then, Kelly. For me, I watched I picked Divorce Italian Style and To Kill a Mockingbird, and I'll start with Divorce Italian Style. This won Best Original Screenplay, and I think the fact that it won that back in 1962 is a little insane because it is a dark screenplay, very comedic but dark. And I'm just gonna address this right now. Oof, this is definitely a premise for a movie. So this movie centers around this guy who's not exactly happy in his marriage, and he falls in love with his what
cousin.
Yeah, it's
Angela.
It wasn't sure if it was a cousin or if it was a niece, and
Like
I was a little
situation,
concerned
yeah.
for a second, but no. Falls in love with his cousin Angela, who is 16 years old, already a bit of a noof. This man's been married for like 12 years, and he fantasizes about his wife just dying so that because divorce in Italy is illegal. So that's a pretty interesting premise for a movie, and the fact that it was from 1962 is kind of impressive that it won the Oscar. The performances are all great. I will say, as tough to get behind as the premise is, the movie is very well done. There's some stunning cinematography, some great editing, and the performances are all on point. Really had fun with it, and also he was nominated for Best Actor for this as well, which is pretty cool. Which is just an all-around stacked class for Best Actor, but we'll get to that when we talk about To Kill a Mockingbird. Yeah, what did you guys think?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed a lot of like the cinematography and camera work. Like I aesthetically really enjoyed the film. There was some moments that were pretty funny because this is supposed to be like a comedy, but I don't think all of it aged very well, and then obviously the just narratively it's hard to get behind.
Yeah.
And it's pretty shocking that like he basically because divorce is illegal, he's like, oh, my only option is that I'm gonna kill my wife.
Not we should move.
So yeah, no, I like it's an interesting kind of film because it's like, yeah, I like some of the technical aspects of it, and I did really like the performances, and it was nice to see what was his name, Marcello Mastroianni, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, from 8.5 returning this week.
That was the same guy. Okay.
And I thought he was great. Like he was a great like protagonist, but it's just like, dude, I do not like you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really get behind this on any significant. It's like parts of it are really funny. I'll say that the imagining killing your wife. That's, you know what, that's fine. If the whole movie was just him thinking about that, fine. But then you remember that, like, all right, he's doing this to get with his cousin, who's like it's like different levels of cousins. Mean Girls, there's different levels of cousins. There's cousins, but like one step closer is the cousin that lives with you. It's that cousin who's 16. Honestly, so there's a lot going on. I think the thing that was bothering me the most, besides all the obvious stuff, is that it's supposed to be this like kind of dream comedy, but it's also super episodic. Like, I think months at least go by as like the whole movie like years go by over the course of the whole movie. But it's also this like breezy. Honestly, this is a great month to watch if you have almost no time to watch movies, because like most of these movies are under 2 hours. So like if you just have like a minute, Divorce Italian style, sure, yeah. It's only gonna harm you a little bit to watch it. It'll only put like a couple bad ideas in your head.
Only a little bit.
Yeah. And then the second film, the movie that won the other screenplay award that year's Oscars is To Kill a Mockingbird. And let me tell you, incredible movie. I loved it. I had only seen the play. I hadn't read the book or seen the movie at all in my nearly 22 years until this challenge happened. And so I'm this movie's incredible. It is so hard to watch at times, but Gregory Peck, as of right now, we'll watch Days of Wine and Roses later, but as of right now, deserves his Best Actor Oscar in my eyes. In case you've forgotten how I feel about that performance in Lawrence of Arabia, there you go. It's in my banner there. But no, this is an incredible movie. Great performances all around, especially from Scout specifically, who is just great, and super cool that she was nominated for an Oscar for that. Honestly, very more than a little disappointed this lost Best Picture. But block of wood, what are you gonna do? Anyway, yeah, definitely one of my biggest blind spots in film history, and I'm really glad I got to finally see it. Incredible film.
Yeah, this was a rewatch for me. I had not seen it since high school because I did read the book. I read the book in 8th grade and my freshman year of high school. And we watched the movie both times as well. So that was like the last time I had like revisited this story. I do think it's like really strong. I do think the film has some awkward pacing in it can be slow at times, but overall like the performances and like the message and like the story is just so strong that I don't really care about that stuff as much. The courtroom scenes are probably the highlight, I would say, of the film. Like I think those are the strongest scenes, especially from Gregory Peck. But I do think, shoot, I don't know his name. I'm sorry. The gentleman who plays Tom Robinson, I thought his performance was great as well. I think it gets overshadowed a bit from Gregory Peck, but both. I mean, everyone in that scene is great, but I would say those two were probably the standouts. And then I do like that this story is just it's coming from like a child's perspective, on a really like complex topic. But yeah, I mean, this is like an all-time classic. It's hard to like really add anything new or insightful to it, but like it's a great film. Like there's kind of no denying that.
Yeah.
Brock
For the
Peters, I
record,
think the
Brock
name you're
Peters
looking
is the
for.
guy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Brock Peters.
thank you.
I just looked it up.
So flash to a different thing we did this month. We all watched a movie together. And we did a spinny thing, and it ended up spinning my favor. Yay! Bad guys always win. And I ended up making y'all watch Beautiful Creatures. And one thing about Beautiful Creatures that I like, besides everything, is the like creepy Southern Gothic kind of vibe that it has. And I think that's one of the reasons that I really like To Kill a Mockingbird. And I think it's one of the things people don't talk about is how like weird, like roads with no lights and long walks in the woods and like lonely cars, like sitting in a car and someone just walks by. Like there's just like this is like a much more aesthetic movie than I thought it was. You don't really think about aesthetics when you're making like a courtroom drama or like a crime movie necessarily like in that kind of way. You're usually more worried about like costumes and stuff with those types of movies, but here they like really rounded out the edges. I could be talking about Gregory Peck, who puts on one of the best performances ever. It's like a really complete movie, actually. It gives everybody something to do. And like even the kid actors like have their own whole thing going on. They have their own story. They're viewing it from a completely different perspective because they don't live in the adult world. They live in a different world. They're just watching their dad do his job. They have the same values that he does, but they don't have his experience. So they're viewing it from a completely different point of view than say their dad is. And then we're watching it from a completely different view than they are so many years down the road. It's a really great movie. I don't know how much else to add to it. I would just say if you haven't watched it, watch it. I haven't read the book. That's not a thing in Tennessee. Sorry, they banned that book. Whoops.
And I will say, we did talk about Gregory Peck's win, but look at the nominees for that year. You got Burt Lancaster in Birdman of Alcatraz, Jack Lemmon in Days of Wine and Roses, Marcello Mentz, that guy from Divorce Italian Style, and then Peter O'Toole and Lawrence of Arabia. Can confirm at least 3 of those.
I've seen 3 of those. Gregory's the best one.
Oh yeah, out of those 3 that I've seen, Gregory Peck is without question the best. But we kind of covered that, so I guess we can move on to next one, which is a film featuring Marilyn Monroe. And Alex,
what a great week!
You can kick us off for this one.
What a great week Monroe week was. No duds. Calling it now. No duds. So Some Like It Hot. So y'all don't know this about me. I don't really I'm not too familiar with Marilyn Monroe. I think we're all more familiar with Marilyn Monroe as like a thing than we are like as like an actual performer. I've only seen her in like a couple of things. What I can tell you is that Wilder still not missing. Still doesn't miss a whole lot. Yes, Kelly, Marilyn week.
Yes. No doubt.
So Some Like It Hot is the story of 2 musicians, neither of which is Marilyn Monroe, who need to get out of stay with me. 2 musicians that need to get out of town so that they can escape the mob looking for them. And then they meet Marilyn Monroe. They have to join this like band thing in Florida. which is still the worst state. They're not excited to go, but they end up in Florida, and they get into like separate romantic entanglements, and it's great the entire time. It's absolutely fantastic the entire time. It is the return of Jack Lemmon. It is, I think, Tony Curtis's first appearance on the show, but we are really happy to see Jack Lemmon on, because he continues to be just the greatest comedic actor of all time. The Steve Martin before Steve Martin was a thing. This is a fantastic movie. No duds.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, this was a rewatch for me. I really liked it the first time I saw it, but I think maybe I was in a bad mood or something. Or like more sensitive to some of the like gender stuff in the movie. But I don't know, like watching it this time, I'm just like, this movie is hilarious. Like it really is. And considering that it came out in 1959, like that is, I think, a testament of the film that it is pretty timeless for the most part. Because I think humor is probably, or comedy humor, whatever, is probably the hardest thing to actually like age gracefully. Like I've been recently rewatching some early 2000s comedies, and it's just like, oh. And so I think just overall the characters are really fun. The jokes work really well, and I think Jack Lemmon and what's the other guy's name? Tony Curtis, like their chemistry and like their dynamic, just it works so well. And I really do like Marilyn's character in this, Sugar. She's not like the best character ever, but like I think she's a lot of fun. She's kind of a low-key alcoholic, but it's okay. It's okay.
Fine. It's fine.
Where's that bourbon is still a great line. Heartbreaking. No, this is a great movie. I've seen it twice at least before, and I didn't get a chance to rewatch it for the challenge, but I love this movie so much. It's one of my favorite comedies. It's in my top 100 movies of all time. Marilyn Monroe is so good in this movie. She's so much fun. Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis, though, have some of the best chemistry I've seen in like for a comedic duo. They're incredible. And also Lemmon and Matthau are a great duo, but I love Lemmon and Curtis in this movie. They're fantastic. Wilder can make the most off the wall premise, just some of the best cinema you've ever seen. Like these two people fleeing the mob have to dress up as women to escape to Florida, where they're forced to join an all-women band. Like, first of all, that premise in and of itself is a little insane, but then you get Billy Wilder to direct it. You get Lemmon and Curtis in front of the camera as the two that join the band. It's fantastic. There's some great lines, and it has one of my favorite final lines in cinema history, which you will see at the end of the show, because Melissa is fucking perfect. And she did that outro. She did that outro for the show, and it's perfect.
Love it.
But no, anyway, great movie. Little upside, I didn't get to rewatch it, but man, I'm gonna rewatch it soon. Probably. We can move on to my pick, which was Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Didn't know anything about this movie going in, and I'll let Alex talk about what he noticed while watching this movie. But I'll say great chemistry between Jane Russell and Marilyn Monroe. Some great music, and I'm just gonna say it. You have Marilyn Monroe, Jane Russell, and a literal boat full of male Olympic athletes. Yes, please. That sounds like a great. That sounds like a really great time. Also, you have I think his name's Charles Coburn. I'm sorry if I'm getting the name wrong. He's really good in pretty much everything he's in that I've seen of him. He shouldn't have won Best Supporting Actor for his performance in the more the merrier, but he's still solid in that. He's really good in this. But no, Marilyn Monroe is so good, and the look on Jane Russell's face, like it's when Jane Russell's talking with Charles Coburn's character at the dinner table, and she's like, "Oh, don't tell my friend about the diamonds, because just don't tell her about the diamonds." And Marilyn Monroe is right behind her, and she goes, "Did somebody say diamonds?" And then the look of just anger, disappointment, and ultimate defeat that falls over Jane Russell's face in the blink of an eye is just perfect. I think about that single reaction a lot. It's great. Jane Russell's great. Marilyn Monroe's great, and I'm really excited to watch more of Monroe's work because everything she's in that I've seen, she's great.
Yeah, this was a first time watch for me, and I honestly don't remember much of the plot. Is like the problem for me, but I don't really care because this like the song and dance numbers, like I loved that, and that could have just easily been the whole film, and it would have been 5 stars because like I don't really remember the actual like full plot. I mean, I kind of remember it, but I just, to me, the strongest moments were like the singing and dancing scenes with the both of them. It was a lot of fun.
Well, Jack, you put me in an awkward situation because you said you let me talk about it, but I noticed like 2 or 3 solid things that I could talk about for the show. Are you? Because there's the one
thing you messaged me about.
Oh no, what did I do now? So here's here's the thing. The thought that I had, that I think the thing that Jack is thinking of, is the fact that when I was watching it, I thought, my God, this is Jack and I. Jack is Marilyn Monroe, and I am I'm Jane Rose. And I stand by the basic of that dynamic is correct. Not so much in the like, I'm not that. I wouldn't like an entire team. No, that's out of the question. I don't have that kind of energy. The other thing, I don't have that. I just don't like. Y'all know me. I can't. I couldn't possibly. What? Basic dynamic, yes. Specifics, no. The other thing that I kind of thought was the thing that I mentioned. I was like, is she the whole team? She's gonna. And then she invited everyone into this room, and then I was like, oh, there are a lot of women in this room too. All right, that's cool. Cool. Yeah, great. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, it's just a blast. It is like a wacky hijinks movie. But it's super self-contained to like 3 locations. You don't actually need that much to make one of these, which is it's always so weird whenever they do it wrong, because it's like, no, you only needed you just need like 3 places, you're fine. And yeah, just strong chemistry, strong jokes. If I just remember the joke about Holtzman being our Spafford. So like if Holtzman, if you're watching and you're not, you're our Henry Spafford III. You're our little kid that just turns up to disapprove. Yeah, it's just a blast. This was a movie that I was really looking forward to. It absolutely delivered. It's just fun. Like, if it's short, it's like 90 minutes, right? Less. It's like less than 2 hours. If you only have time to watch like one, this is a good choice. No duds.
All right, and I think we can move on to the last movie in this week's challenge, which is Melissa's. Take it away.
Well, I feel like you're setting me up to be the villain, because I kind of feel like this one is a dud. At least slightly. So Asphalt Jungle came out in 1950, directed by John Huston. I'm I'm realizing I don't think directors named John and me are getting along because I don't like John Ford really.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this movie didn't really work for me either. But general plot synopsis is this gentleman is recently released from prison, and he has a plan to do a jewelry heist, and he kind of like handpicks these people to do said heist, and everything goes to shit basically. That's the plot. Now the heist itself lasts about 5 minutes, so like the rest of the film is very much like focused on the characters, and I think it's trying to like make them sympathetic and like kind of try to humanize these people even though they're criminals, and it does feel like they're kind of like all stuck in their circumstances in a way. But I don't know, I struggled to get through this film. I fell asleep quite a few times to like watch it from start to finish. The pacing was a bit rough. I also just feel like even though the movie tries to like humanize these characters, it didn't work for me. Like there wasn't really any character that I was like rooting for, or even if like they're really despicable, like even in that way, I don't know. It's just all I felt very indifferent, which is like probably one of the worst feelings to have with a film is to feel indifferent. It's kind of insulting I chose this for a Marilyn Monroe movie because she's barely in it, and it's false advertisement.
You didn't know that is the most disingenuous poster of all time.
For real. Bar was 100% correct on that. He warned me, and it is true. She looks gorgeous. She's super young in this, and she's great for the few moments that we see her in, but yeah.
Yeah, I will say, Bar, I had quite a bit of notice that this wasn't going to be a Marilyn Monroe movie because you commented on Melissa's post. Matthew told me don't expect a Marilyn Monroe movie, expect more of a Marilyn Monroe and All About Eve kind of thing, because she has similar screen time in that. But so that being said, I was prepared to go into this being like, okay, this isn't really that much of a Marilyn Monroe movie. It just happens to feature her, and totally fair pick by Melissa, because when we were picking these things, I had only seen the poster of the Asphalt Jungle and been like, oh yes, this is a very famous Marilyn Monroe movie where I'm sure that she's great, which she is great in her like 2 scenes she's got. But I just couldn't get invested in the characters. I was totally just, I don't know what it was. Whether it was, it feels like John Huston decided to make a heist movie, but do it in the least interesting way and just most bland way. I don't know if I was expecting like something different, but the heist happens like halfway through the movie, and then the half after that is all the fallout of that, but it's like very slow and monotonous. I had to take a break in this movie just because I was struggling just to keep my attention. It's still like, it's got some good edits, it's got some good shots. Marilyn Monroe's solid. There's some good there's some good performances, but I just couldn't get fully invested. Thanks, Bar. You have a good one.
Hi, bye.
Hi, bye. But yeah. No, it's I don't know. Maybe it'll work better for me on rewatch now that I kind of know what I'm getting into, but I don't know. It just didn't totally work for me on this watch.
Well, y'all put, again, I'm in an awkward position here because I think I ended up liking it, I think, a bit more than y'all. So once again, the grid, like if here is like the sad lesbian movie, like over here or here maybe is like the sad boy criminal movie. I don't enjoy them equally, but they are somewhere, they are connected in my opinion. And I think that's like once you're in crime, that's it for you, baby. At least that's what movies would have you believe. Yeah, and kind of going back to Kill a Mockingbird, one of the things is that like we think of To Kill a Mockingbird as like this courthouse drama. That's like 10 minutes of the movie. Asphalt Jungle is technically like a crime movie, but it's again, it's a very short amount of time you're actually committing. You know, it's not like Ocean's whatever, where you're like the crime is a significant part of the movie. It's no, let's do a crime. Oh no, we did a crime. Let's go. Scatter, scatter, scatter. It's not that dramatic to be honest, but yeah, I like the saddening of the criminals. I think the attempts, I don't really like saying human, I empathize or sympathize maybe more with the criminals than I think y'all did. I think their ends, the way the movie ends for each of them is I found it kind of sad. I felt emotions about it. I don't really have anything to say about Marilyn Monroe in this movie. She's barely in it. If you want a Monroe, watch one of the other ones. But yeah, I can't really be too upset about it because I don't think it's not like a particularly hearty movie. It's not like but I also can't say it's empty calories. It's just somewhere in the middle. It's like a slice and a half of pizza. You definitely ate, but did you? I mean, did you? Did you need a napkin? Did you need a napkin? Did not need a napkin. I don't know. That's all right. That's fine.
Yeah, that's a very fair description. All right, I think we can get on to the next topic, which was a film by Alfred Hitchcock. I'll start this one off. And I'm just gonna say now, after seeing a lot of Hitchcock's like later movies, like from the 50s and 60s, going back to one from the 30s, this is, I think, the oldest Hitchcock movie I've seen. And you can tell he's still like figuring things out as a director, but he's like right there. He's right there, right on the precipice of what he'd become in the 40s with Rebecca and Strangers on a Train, and Rear Window was the 50s. Shit. But like, actually, I think Stranger on a Train might have been as well. Shit, well, that didn't work. But no. You can tell he's like right there. There's some moments where the brilliance that is on full display in his later movies is on full display here in brief flashes. Like there's like 20 minutes of this movie where I'm just like, this is great. I could watch this for a long time, and then it kind of just fades away a little bit. Like it kind of just leaves. Like the 20 minutes where after she wakes up and the lady's vanished, and she's trying to figure out what's happening. That's some of the best cinema from the 30s I think I've seen. Like it's good. I can't remember her name, the actress, but she's excellent in this movie. I was very annoyed with what's his name, Michael Redgrave. I was very annoyed with him in like the first act because he was being just an absolute jackass in that hotel room. But you know, whatever. He got better as the movie went on, and also Paul Lucas shows up and is really solid in his role. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen this movie. He turns out to be like a villainous person, and it's honestly a pretty solid reveal. It also has one of my favorite things I've ever seen in a Hitchcock movie. Maybe my favorite thing I've ever seen in a Hitchcock movie, where they knock a guard out with a chair on the train. And they're like, that was a trick to get us off the train. And this one very, very, very aggressively British man is like, I'm gonna go out there and apologize to them and get this all sorted out. And he goes out, and as soon as he steps off the train, or is in the doorway to step off the train, he gets shot in the hand. Doesn't scream, no recoil, like doesn't pull his hand back or anything. He just simply looks down, looks back at them, turns around, goes back in the train, and lifts up his hand, and it's like clearly gushing blood. And he's just like, "Huh, you were right." Takes his buddy's pocket square and bandages his hand. It's like, what? And then the chillest shootout you've ever seen proceeds to take place. It is the most relaxed shootout I think I have ever seen in any movie. It's great. Very unintentionally comedic, but no, it's got some great suspense in this movie, some really solid performances. It's a solid Hitchcock flick.
Yeah, no, I thought this one was a lot of fun. It feels like a Scooby-Doo episode almost in a way. And it definitely is more comedic than like some of his other films that I've seen. But I thought it really worked, and I felt quite the opposite. I loved Michael Redgrave. He was probably my favorite. He actually gave me Kevin Kline vibes in a way. Like I found him so charismatic and like charming, even though he was like a dick. But it worked for me.
That's fair.
But no, I thought this movie was a lot of fun. I could see it maybe going up on rewatches, but I felt like the like first like 2/3 of the movie was really solid, and then just the ending is so wild. Like,
yeah.
But like it's fun. It's a good time, but I just like was not expecting it. I was like, oh, okay, this is how we're going out with this. Okay.
There's always something when I watch Hitchcock movies, the like 7 or 8 that I've seen now. There's always something that I'm like, this was the objectively wrong choice. You shouldn't have done this. The thing with The Lady Vanishes is that it's cute. Like, it is. It's a Scooby-Doo episode. Like, they're like, oh no, we have to figure this out. But like the like, there's a reason conspiracy romantic dramas is not like a big genre. It's because it's really weird to like fall in love when there's been a disappearance, or when there's a murder, or when there's something there's like really a weird time to be like, God, you look great. You look great today. It's such a strange, inappropriate thing. It's such a strange, inappropriate time. And like it's fine. Like the chemistry is fine. It's like a really like jokey movie. It's short. You can get through it. I don't object to anything in it. I just think it's incorrect, the tone of this movie. Like I'll solve a crime with anybody, but I wouldn't want to fall in love necessarily while I'm doing it. Like, I don't think this is the right time. Yeah, it's all right. It's a good time. I don't know if this is not the strongest work. I do appreciate the metaphor of like when this was made. I do think Hitchcock thought, you know what, I'm gonna screw the subtlety. We're gonna make it very straightforward. There's no false room for interpretation. We're gonna make the movie that it's gonna be about. We're gonna get into this war. Yeah, it's a good time, just not like a great time.
Yeah. I will say, I absolutely agree, Kelly, that they're probably my two favorite characters in this movie. I just want to address the ending, because that very final scene is just so odd. What was the point of that tune that they kept humming in the movie? I don't understand. Suddenly
it's got to be a British thing.
After maybe getting shot in the forest, like the old lady that vanished, she's back. It just
jumps out of a train and is like, "You'll never take me alive."
It's the weirdest thing. That being said, still a lot of fun. But these two guys who clearly know, yeah, there was this old woman that this person is clearly looking for. but nah, if we get held up, we're gonna miss the cricket match. So let's just pretend we didn't see her. Just priorities are interesting there, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I saw a really funny Letterboxd review that was just like, "Men will do anything to get to a sporting match" or something like that. And I was like, it was pretty funny. So shout out to that Letterboxd user. It was just like somebody random, but I was like, I love that.
accurate. All right, Melissa, I think we can go to you next. Talk
Sure.
about-
Yeah. So I chose Rope from 1948. And it is about two men that just want to prove that they can commit a perfect murder. And I mean, I don't think this is really spoiling it because it's like right out the gate, but
Yeah.
basically the person that they killed is in this like chess, and they're having like a dinner party, and so it creates quite the tension, just with the way that the camera moves and everything, that you just know that there's a dead body in there. And of course the camera often reminds you of that throughout. And I thought the performances were really strong from, I would say, like the three main leads, James Stewart, John Dahl, and Farley Granger, like those three. Yeah, like Hitchcock really is the master at suspense, but he's also the master at gay subtext. So don't forget.
Damn it, you stole my point. Okay.
No, go. Because I mean, he does it in a lot of movies. He does it in maybe our next movie, and he does it in Rebecca.
very
I guess
strongly in Rebecca too.
Yeah,
I don't even know if it's subtext in Rebecca. It's just like
that's fair.
It's just
It's just there.
yeah. So okay. Rope is a blast. It's probably my favorite movie that we watched for this week. I may have underrated it, honestly, when I put my review up. I think this movie's a absolute blast. Once again, like a 90-minute movie, if I'm not mistaken.
81
just-
minutes.
Yeah, 80 yeah, it's very short. An absolute blast. When like I was like a year and a half ago, I watched my very first Jimmy Stewart performance, and I did not care for it. We have come so far with Jimmy Stewart since I watched Rear Window. We have come so far to now it's the point where I think genuinely he's one of my favorite actors. Him in this movie, he has a trait that he shares with like Anya Taylor-Joy, where you see him perform and it's like he's thinking in character. Like the character is thinking, so he is thinking. He knows his next line, but the character is trying to figure out the next move. So like there's some like he does some funny business with the chest. He's like about to open it, the dead body's in the chest. Someone's like, nope, not yet. That's not where we are in the plot. And he's like, that was so weird. That was unexpectedly weird. Why are you being so weird about this? There's something incorrect. From the moment he walks in, he's thought there's something incorrect about this situation. Someone's missing. Y'all are being really weird about this. What's going on? Yeah, it's just it is a really fun and suspenseful are like usually like away from each other. But the like Rope really does make them go hand in hand, because you know where the body is. The characters know where the body is. The person's trying to figure it out believes they know what's going on. So every time anything goes near that part of the room, you're like, yeah, not yet. Okay. So you attach to the plot, to the story, because of how much information you have. Like you have all the information to start. So when characters get more information, you're like, you're almost there. Come on, finish the story. Get there. Ah, not yet. We're only 30 minutes in. Okay, that's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. So that it makes like a really engaging watch in a way that a lot of suspense movies, you're like aware of the runtime. Like, okay, we're not done yet, but at any point this could end. At any point, Rope could have ended, and it just didn't. And that makes for like a really interesting kind of situation.
Yeah, no, I love, you don't see that like format of film a lot, I feel like where you have all the information, and like a franchise that I feel like that would greatly, I feel like, benefit from it is like Scream. Like I would love to see a Scream movie where like we have all the information, instead of like the who's under the mask type of thing.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
no,
yeah, that would be a great
it's-
opening.
That
I
would
just
be
I don't know. It's very effective. I agree. I liked having all the information.
that's fair. This is a top 5 Hitchcock movie for me. It's incredible. I will say, for me, the scariest thing in this movie is the charisma that John Dahl brings to Brandon's character. The man is just so charismatic in this movie, and it makes me that much more afraid of him. Farley Granger, whatever his name is, he's great. This is one of my favorite James Stewart performances I've seen. I think he's incredible throughout the entire thing. Just the way he's piecing everything together, all different conversations that he's got in this movie. Every single one, you're just on the edge of your seat. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite Hitchcocks, and I didn't get the chance to rewatch it, but damn, I want to. I want to get to it again. It's only 80 minutes, so maybe I'll get to it later, but such a good movie. All right. And I think we just have one more left. So for this challenge, and then we're on to the French films. Alex, take it away.
So, Strangers on a Train. This is also not a typical setup for a movie. But here's the setup. It's like a meet cute, but for murder.
That is perfect.
Yeah, it's a meet cute but murder. Basically these two guys meet, and one of them is insane. The other one is just going through a potential divorce. And the guy goes, "Hey, I've heard of you. Wanna do a murder?" And then it immediately spirals out of control, because that's how murders are.
Yes.
There's a incredible amount of gay subtext, just the right amount, because this right away becomes a horrible like parasocial, like an incorrect relationship just off the bat. And it's like one of these people is just not comfortable with the amount of out that they are, and just like the other person is constantly trying to push them. This is a wonderful movie. However, there's always just something incorrect about a Hitchcock movie, and for me, it's how wacky the ending is. Because while what was it? What the lady vanishes, the whole movie is a Scooby-Doo episode. I agree. Just the ending of Strangers on a Train is a Scooby-Doo episode, because they're doing this like wacky thing on like a, what's it called? A carousel. They're doing this wacky thing on a carousel, and they make it spin and spin and spin. The camera work's going erratic. The editing is going erratic. Everything's going wrong. Everything's going wrong. These two guys, and you have to remember, this is like an aristocrat and a pro tennis player. This is not actually that serious, but the movie is so intense and so like trying to make this serious. But maybe it's just me. I just thought, I I don't know if this is the level of drama where we were operating at this whole time. I feel like we like ran into the door of drama and then went, I messed up, hang on, and then opened it. It's a genuinely good movie. It's probably a top 5 of the Hitchcocks that I have seen. But it is really brought down, I think, by just how kind of goofy they made an otherwise like perfectly acceptable want to do a murder movie.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of felt that way the first time I saw it, but I don't know, like this was the second time. This was a rewatch for me and I was just like, I love it. Like, I don't know, like despite some of its flaws, I kind of love it for its flaws in a way, or like at least on this rewatch that's how I felt about it. But yeah, like some of my favorite like camera work that I've seen in a Hitchcock movie, like I love that when one of the characters gets murdered, it's like a shot in their glasses, which is like a really cool shot. I love the tennis match where people are like moving their heads back and forth, but he's like looking directly at him. Like that's great. I love the wacky carousel scene at the end. I think it's really cool and unique. But yeah, no, I love the performances, and I think gosh, what's his name? The main villain guy. Robert
Bruno.
Walker.
Oh.
Yeah,
yes.
Bruno. Yeah. He was by far the standout for me. Like I think his performance is like he's one of the best villains I've seen like on film. Like I just like literally just the way like that scene where he's like way far away at the building, it's just he's literally just standing there. It's like terrifying. It's like, oh shit, you know that's him.
But it's murder. Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think his performance and character is super effective and very good use of tension and suspense in this one.
Fair. Yeah, this one is top 10 Hitchcock for me. It's fantastic. I think Bruno is a terrifying villain. Robert Walker, I think you said his name is.
Yeah.
So good in this movie. Man. Just the man sits down next to this guy, is like, hey, have you ever just wanted to murder someone? I have. Have you? Okay. Want to swap murders? And that's kind of just how things get going. It's really fun, really out there. I love Hitchcock. He's one of my favorite directors, and this exemplifies why. I didn't have time to revisit this movie this month. It's been a very crazy, busy month, but I did get to see all the movies I had to watch for the first time. So, but no, I didn't get to rewatch anything. Excellent pick. As soon as I saw Alex had picked it for this challenge, I got really, really excited. So it's one I want to revisit, just haven't found time. With that, I think we can move on to the last one. Let us know what you watched in the private chat, in the comments, in the live chat for the Hitchcock movie. Also your French movie, because that's one we're on now. And Alex, we'll go back to you.
Oh boy. I was gonna prepare a thing and do like my whole thing in French, but then I thought, ooh, that takes effort. Yeah, so Lola is it's just like a like imagine in your head right now, you are ChatGPT. Generate in your head all of the things that you think should be in a French film. Is it black and white? Yes. Is there a guy smoking a cigarette by himself? Yes, actually. Is there just like a single mom? Yes. Is everyone in it, literally everyone, like super romantic? Yes. Is there a child whose safety you are concerned with? Yes. all of these is there little to no plot, but like a lot of character stuff? Yes. That is Lola. You have just generated in your head Lola. It is it's like a vibe. It's just like a really like it's a French vibes movie. There is kind of a plot, like it's just like a bunch of characters like pinballing in and out of each other's lives, but I can't meaningfully explain the plot because I didn't have to go, well, this is this person's arc, this is this person's arc, this is this person's arc, this is. You just know that like everyone is like toying with this like missed love, like they're in the different parts of missing love. One of them is stuck in an old relationship, one is trying to get into a relationship with one that's stuck in the old relationship, one is trying to run away with someone that's stuck in an old relationship. They're all just like, it's just like a massive this is how this person is this related to this person, this person to this person. They all kind of meet at various points in time, but the scenes are like just kind of very loosely struck together. The only thing that's like, if this movie were any looser, it would be A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. And I wish there was more on it. I wish there was more meat on that bone. I wish it were like if any one movie I wish were longer and denser, it was this one, because I think I wanted to like it more. I'm not really into the whole vibes thing. I'm a plot boy, as we have said. So Lola, it just sadly didn't work for me as much as I think it would, for example, and not to call anyone out specifically, but Jack.
Yeah. This movie works for me. It falls into that. It's sad that I'm going to compare these two movies in this way, but it falls into the same camp for me that How Green Was My Valley does, where it is vibes. You're just following these people in their lives. Their storylines intersect a few times, and you're kind of just they're kind of just going about their lives, and there's not really a plot to this movie. There is, but not a solid one. And I'm there for it. Like, I'm here for that. It does. I will say, I think it's weird to say, but I think even though I made the wrong decision in watching this one second, I did have. It did positively impact how I was watching the movie, because we'll get to it in Umbrellas of Cherbourg, but there's an actor that shows up in both of those movies, and we'll talk more about that later. But it's I think the performances are all solid. There's some great cinematography, great editing. I'm saying this over and over again tonight, but it's true. This is just a movie that worked for me. It was Jacques Demy's first movie, I believe, and it makes me want to explore more of his filmography, which I might finally watch The Young Girls of Rochefort, which I have on my Blu-ray shelf over there. So might finally watch that. So Matthew can be excited.
Yeah, I'm a vibes girl, but I don't know. This didn't really fully work for me. I thought it was good. I think it might just be where I am in life type of thing. Like I could see myself like loving this when I was like back in college type of thing, because there is kind of like an immaturity, I think, with all of these characters. And so I don't know. I couldn't really get behind it, but overall it's like a good movie, and I do think some of the dialogue is like, meaningful and whatever. But I will say the other movie that we're going to talk about in a minute definitely made me like this one more. Also, again, I appreciate. I saw a really funny Letterboxd review on this one as well. That was like, Michelle's not even that hot, and I was like, I agree. Like, why is this girl like just wasting all of her time thinking about him? But whatever.
Michelle is not hot.
He's
He
not.
looks like Kevin Nash. He looks like Kevin Nash in like a suit. It's wild.
Not that that like matters really, but it did make me
No.
laugh.
Yeah, that's fair. We can talk about the next one now. The Umbrellas of Cherbourg is great. One of the most just aesthetically pleasing and just gorgeous movies I've ever seen. And Catherine Deneuve kicks it out, like just knocks it out of the park in this movie. For those of you that don't know what this movie is about, Catherine Deneuve, great. She plays this young girl who's in love with someone who's a little bit older than her, who works at a auto shop, like as a mechanic. This is what I've been waiting all show for. This movie is so good. And so anyway, basically, she decides that they want to get married. Like they decide they want to get married. But then he gets drafted into the French army to like Algeria or somewhere, and she meets this guy who is like a diamond expert or something. Like he works with he does work with diamonds. Who is the guy from Lola? He's the main character in Lola. The actor returns as the same character, and his storyline from Lola kind of carries over here, and it's really interesting. You can tell this is a older version of the same character who's been through who's been through all the shit from that past relationship, and is kind of still not totally recovered, but he's kind of just moving on in life. He meets Catherine Deneuve, and he of course, as most men would, immediately falls in love with her. They end up getting married to save or to, I don't know if it's to save the shop, but to basically to they end up getting married, and Buddy doesn't find out till he's back home from Algeria or wherever he's at, and he's obviously not that pleased. He moves on in life, and he falls in love with his mother's caretaker. They get married, and or they build a life together. And at the end of the movie, after Catherine Deneuve has moved away and started a life with her husband, and her mom's died, but she has a kid that she had from the guy that she was in love with and went to war or went to the army. And they meet again at a gas station that the Buddy owns and runs, which is what they wanted to do when they were together, is open the gas station together. And it's all very cute and romantic, but it's very sad because now they're both on completely different paths. They've moved on from each other, and it's a very bittersweet ending. Honestly, more bitter than anything, but it's an ending that left me tearing up. Just a beautiful film from start to finish. Every fucking word in this movie is sung, which threw me off a little bit, because like normally when you're watching a musical and most words are being sung, they rhyme a little bit. They're like part of songs. No, this one's just general conversation that's being sang through the entire time. It's like these people sing, "Oh, how's your day been?" "Oh, well, I'm in a lot of pain." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, fair." But no, this, yeah. Oh, I already put that comment up. That's my bad. No, this is just, it threw me off, but I for a little bit first, but I got over it really quick, and it's just a really, really beautiful film. Definitely one of my favorite first-time watches of the year, and I believe Catherine Deneuve also shows up in Young Girls of Rochefort, which is the other Jacques Demy movie that I want to see. Fingers crossed. I'll get to it soon. Anyway, someone else move on, because I'm rambling at this point.
No, that was great. This was probably my favorite movie from this month, or it was not probably it was. I watched it this morning, and it was fantastic. Like I think it's visually so beautiful. I loved the color palette of like kind of the pastel colors. And then I wasn't sure if I would be on board with the constant singing, but it worked for me. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Another Jacques Demy movie that has like similar vibes that I would recommend is Donkey Skin, except there's a narrative piece of that movie that's really fucked, but it's very similar. Like they sing a lot in that movie as well, and it's very visually stunning. I watched that kind of on my own time earlier this month or last month, and I definitely got that same type of vibe from this movie. I thought this kind of took the idea from Lola, like the missed opportunities in love, but like I think it worked better here with how the structure of the film, and I just liked the characters more. And I'm super excited to rewatch this. Catherine Deneuve. She's becoming one of my favorites. Like, it's weird because I feel like I'm seeing her filmography like backwards. Because the first movie I ever saw her in was The Hunger, which is a bisexual vampire movie, which I do recommend.
I'm adding that to my watch list immediately.
And David Bowie's in it too. So that was like my first like time I had ever seen her, and I loved her in that movie, and just everything from this challenge, because now this is the second movie that we've seen her in from the challenge. I'm falling in love with her.
I'm just gonna say now, added Donkey Skin to the watch list, and that thing you mentioned that's pretty fucked. It's in the description on Letterboxd. That took me aback.
Yep. But besides that, it's a great movie, and please watch it.
Hang on a second.
Or we should all watch it at some point together. I vote for that. Anyways,
I'm down for that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah. The pickle y'all have put me in with this movie. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you about a movie that I really like. It's called La La Land. I don't know if y'all know this about me. I love La La Land. Like, a lot. Like an unreasonable amount. Like a weird amount. I saw it so many times in theaters. I have several different Blu-rays. The point is, I know that the origins of La La Land are very much rooted in stuff like Lola and The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. So I should really like The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and I do. I don't know if I really wish that there would be a plot twist, but there's really not. This is a really like a really wonderful movie. It is kind of the better version of Lola in pretty much every way. It's still vibes that's still there, but they gave it the plot and the characters just a more coherent direction. And they, from at least in my narrative brain, my left brain, they actually finished the stories of the characters in a way that I found meaningful. If Lolo's like a bunch of characters kind of stuck, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg is a bunch of characters that decide to like stop trying to make it work and deciding to make it work. Like, just let's stop trying, let's just do it. And it's just like a really warm, atmospheric movie. And I think really what it is I love everything where we have to, like, if there's a movie about like we have to save the youth center, or we have to the mom and pop is closing down. I love stuff like that. I like when there's like a real world problem that we have to find a dumb solution for. God, how are we gonna keep the shop? I know, we'll do a dance benefit. Like that. That's so hokey that I almost like have to love it. And yeah, the Umbrella Cherbourg is just like a really fun time. Yeah, I really liked it.
Fair enough. We've gotten to the last movie in the episode. So Melissa, take us home.
Sure. So I chose Elevator to the Gallows from 1958. I don't know how to say this gentleman's name. Directed by Louis Malle or Malah. I don't know how to pronounce it because it's probably French. I don't know. But this was his directorial debut, like feature length film, which I think this is a really good debut, considering that. But basic plot synopsis is our main character Julian. He murders his boss or employee or like coworker. I was a little bit confused on like exactly what the connection was, but coworker. And he's having an affair with his wife. And so they've kind of like planned this murder, and basically everything goes to shit. In regards to his plan, he gets stuck in an elevator. And there's kind of like three different stories kind of happening throughout this. So like there's the elevator claustrophobic story, and then there's the story of the two kind of Bonnie and Clyde like characters that steal his car and they commit a murder kind of under his identity. And then the wife that, or like the mistress that he's having the affair with, is kind of stomping around the whole city trying to find him. Like those are kind of like the three stories that are all kind of happening all at one time. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was great, and I feel like it's so spoiled that has Miles Davis music, jazzy music in the background the entire time. It really sets the mood and the atmosphere for it. Yeah, no, I thought this was great. And it's another short watch. So I definitely recommend checking it out if you have not seen it.
Yeah, this movie is great. I wasn't sure what to expect going into it. It had been mentioned on like a couple podcasts I listened to as like a recommendation, but I hadn't heard any like plot points of it. This movie is really interesting. The setup to it is interesting. It really just goes right into it. It doesn't bother with a whole lot of setup. It just kind of goes right into the plot. Really well done film, great performances, and yeah, I can see myself rewatching this soon, like really soon.
Yeah, Elevate to the Gallows. I found this movie to like it's hard to like start strong and then end like just as strong. You either gain a lot of momentum or you lose it over the course of the movie. This was like a really solid movie all the way through. It never really loses you because it's got enough going on that you're like always engaged. And it's constantly switching in between the different narratives. So you've always, like, if one thing hasn't grabbed your attention, odds are the next one is. And it kind of follows the same line as like Asphalt Jungle, in the like, okay, you've committed a crime. The only real logical step you have is to commit another crime. You just have to keep going. You've screwed yourself. You just have to keep writing this line. However it ends is, you started, so you have to just kind of keep going. The like, okay, the like, honestly, more movies should start with a murder, right? That's like a solid theme for the month. More movies should start with a murder. Murder. All right, we have to get out of here. Let me just put my crap. I forgot the thing. I have to go back. So then this person's stuck. Now, okay, let's steal this car. All right, we've stolen a car. Oh, there's a gun inside of it. What can we do with that? And then the trying to like solve these, and like the pieces of it are all so tightly connected. This is like a really wonderfully done screenplay. Just like a really just excellent like noir. And there's no place at any point where you're, and I think this is the kind of like the problem with like crime movies like this, you as an audience member can like, you know, the point where you would have jumped out. Like, well, I probably just wouldn't have done that. But after the murder's committed, there's nowhere else to go. Like there's only forward at this point. And I think that makes it such an engaging experience, because I think you as a person are like naturally wired to like, I think I probably could have gotten out of this, but at no point could you have. Which makes it almost like, it almost makes it feel kind of like the Hitchcock movies, where like you could have jumped out, like you're here for the ride as opposed to you trying to figure it out. Is like you're actually just like here for this experience. You're not trying to figure it out. You've gotten all of the information. They're just like, you're just stuck with it. And I think that's like a really wonderful, it just makes for like a really wonderful viewing experience. I liked it. I liked Love Edge of the Gallows. I did fall asleep, but only because like we were crushing like 3 or 4 of these a day, and there's just a breaking point to my brain. All right. This one, guys, sorry.
You're good.
You're human. It's okay.
All right, that does it for this month, for View 52 challenge. Our next episode will be covering the May challenges, and that'll be May 26th at 9 EST. Real quick before we go, what movie or challenge are you most excited for this next month? Because
let's see what next month.
I will say the topics are a film featuring Katharine Hepburn, a film by your favorite director's favorite director or biggest influence. Alex, you beautiful man. That is the best challenge here, in my opinion. A musical.
Is this the one that I came up with? Is that one of them?
And film released in 1933. Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm so excited for this challenge. I know y'all aren't going to be as excited about my movie because it's another John Ford movie. But no, I'm very excited to watch The Searchers. Very excited to see Lion in Winter. Very excited to see Singing in the Rain. Like this month is gonna be like all bangers for me. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, no, just looking at the list and what everyone chose, I'm super excited. I will say I struggled with your favorite directors, like favorite director, just because I have so many favorite directors. Like it was hard for me to choose, but I am excited to see The Fly, the original Fly. So that'll be fun. I'm super excited for the musical week because I love musicals, but I feel like I haven't seen a lot. Or not that's not true, but like I just feel like I want to see more, especially like classic musicals. So I'm super excited for that week.
This is hard because I mean, so like personally, it's awful to say, but I came up with one of the weeks, and while I am excited to see like I don't want to see another John Ford movie. There, I said it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then just
Jack's gonna sneak him in there.
No, I get it, and that's why we're punishing him later with Vincent Price. We're
in 1933's Alice in Wonderland for Cary Grant. But, you know, whatever.
That's true. That's something to look forward to. I guess honestly, musicals is again. Well, I do like musicals. I'll say it about myself. I haven't seen a whole lot of them. I've seen a lot of the big ones. Yeah, just in time for musicals. So like for example, when the musical that I picked, I know nothing about that. I picked it because it sounds weird and interesting. What does a musical with an all black cast look like
So
in 1943? What does that look like? I don't know. It should be interesting at least. And then just some big movies to watch, like we get to watch 2001: A Space Odyssey. That should be neat. That should be neat.
I'm so excited for that. That is one of my biggest blind spots.
Oh, it's one of
I'm excited to watch The Fly. And Jack picked a movie too.
2001: Space Odyssey is one of my favorite movies of all time. So
Ooh,
I'm very excited to rewatch it.
I have
Of
to like a
course.
Kubrick movie at some point. At some point,
We'll see.
I'll really like them.
you've seen The Shining, haven't you?
No,
Oh,
I didn't watch horror movies until we met, Jack.
Fair.
Like a year before we met, almost is when I started. Like, I should probably watch
Yeah.
some spooky stuff.
also me as well. Like I didn't watch horror movies growing up, so
That's all I did.
fair.
That's
fair.
I wasn't
Seriously,
allowed to.
I was a pussy growing up when it came to scary movies, so I'm still not great, but I'm getting better. I'll watch basically any horror movie that's not demonic, and even then, I really want to see The Exorcist, so I don't even know at this point. But no, I think that about does it for us. So, anything else before we wrap up, or do I just play the outro?
I think we're ready.
All right. Well, on behalf of everyone here for doing the View 52 challenge, thank you for watching. We'll be back next month, May 26th at 9 EST. I'm sorry, Bar. Okay, I'm fucking sorry. Oh, there I go again. Anyway, bye.
Well, nobody's perfect.
I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.